Hey guys, this is MommasBackhand bringing you episode 2 of the Rant series. Today we're going to be ranting about unbalanced relationships. It's going to be more specifically towards high school students. That's just the audience that I feel would connect with this the most. So if you don't want to hear it, probably now is the time to back out. But a quick note about the game first. I'm using the PDW 57 playing headquarters, on Nuketown 2025 under the Chaos Mosh Pit grouping. That makes sense. I start out pretty slow here at the beginning, and it is a little rough, and I think it's going to be a terrible game, but it ends up being a pretty decent game for me. So sit back, enjoy the rant, and we'll get this thing kicked off. All right, guys. First things first about unbalanced relationships, I would say is called the chaser-chasee theory. Now, what that is when one person is trying harder, offering more, and eventually sacrificing more than the person they're chasing. The chasee has it easy. They reap the benefits afforded to them by the chaser while not being expected to reciprocate, simply because the chaser is blinded by the amount of attention they're receiving. For the younger people, I know I said this for high schoolers and they're not going to understand, but Saved by the Bell did an entire episode on this. If you remember correctly, Screech, the nerdy friend, bought his new girlfriend, in air quotes, all sorts of things, jewelry, watches, etc., and she just kept wanting more. Zach and the gang caught on and helped him get everything back. But that's a TV show. In real life, it doesn't always happen that way. In real life, there is something called a friend zone. Friend zone is when a guy, typically a guy, is in love with a girl. He wants to date her. He wants to be her boyfriend. But she has him in a friend zone. I know you shouldn't use the term in the definition, but it's basically just a place where she thinks of him as a friend. He's always going to be a friend. He's only going to be a friend, but doesn't tell him that. Just kind of lets it go on and on while she's just kind of reaping the benefits. I know, girls, it sounds bad. You're kind of getting shafted on this one, but that's just how the chaser-chasee goes. I'm sorry. Now, where that situation ends up is basically happiness for one and complacency for the other. Generally, the boy, just stick with me on that theory there. The boy is always going, or normally going to be the chaser. Just stick with me on that. The boy is going to be happy. He thinks that everything's going swell and that, he has this amazing girlfriend who loves him and cares about him, blah, blah, blah. Look at that guy jump out of the corner there. Anyway, the girl basically becomes complacent. She's not in love with him. She doesn't necessarily, enjoy spending time with him per se, but just she's getting things. She's getting material objects. So she's happy. She can deal with it. One person, like I said, is always giving more. That's normally the guy. The other is always willing to take or accept things. Maybe they turn it into like I'm accepting this because it's a gift that was given to me. But that's not what it's for, obviously. One person is just not recognizing the toxicity of the relationship. And normally, as a byproduct, they have problems trusting those that can see the issues, like friends or family or coworkers or, whatever age group this takes place, normally high school. You'll have your friends that are telling you, hey man, she's not the right one for you, or she's not doing things for you that you're doing for her, but the chaser doesn't see that. They just see that they're with the love of their life. So like I said, it's just a toxic relationship, and nobody's really understanding that. Now, why does this happen? Let's look at the wiring of the brain. Men versus women. Men, at a young age, are looking for their sexual match. Women are always, at least I am convinced, they're always looking for the best overall match. Sometimes the largest factor could be, looks or their income or, their genetics, maybe. Sometimes their character, if they're motivated or ambitious or, something in their character is the leading cause for a girl to show them affection or attention or whatever. But eventually in life, each gender moves towards a happy medium. The guy's not looking for the prom queen necessarily anymore, and the girl's not looking for, the guy with the most money or the guy who can give them the most or whatever. Generally they move towards a happy medium later on in life. That's why I think, personally, it's smarter to wait for marriage. Not jump into something when you're 18 or just wait for it. Wait till you know that this is the person you'll be with forever. So how can we help these unbalanced relationships? Well, there are things that are probably never going to change. I don't think that a man's outlook going through puberty into adulthood is ever going to change. I think he's always going to be look for the he's always going to be dreaming of the physically perfect female. Um, and I think the women's ability to manipulate situations and occurrences, that nurture imbalanced relationships, I don't think will ever change. It's kind of the same idea that if you're getting it, why, if you're getting gifts, why would you ever turn that down? Why would you want to change that if you're just getting gifts and reaping benefits? And you know, you're making someone happy, I guess, in a way. So why would you ever want to change that? Whether it's a conscious thing or an unconscious thing, women in particular are able to use their sexiness to improve their situation or to achieve their goal or receive something they want, etc., etc. But there are things that can change, and there are things that need to change. Men can play the game too. Not only with they can't do it with sex, but they also have a very low success rate. I should say that, but they can use sex or social status. Excuse me, Freudian slip there with the sexual, but they can use social status. If they're the quarterback of the high school football team, or they can use their family wealth. They can use the buying of presents to get what they're looking for sexually. If you catch my drift there. And women can understand the effect they're having on young men. Women should genuinely strive to keep the expectations of the relationship realistic. Anyway, so one last little note here. It's going to come off a little bit more like a dad would say, but don't rush into sex. Sex is great and awesome and feels amazing and whatnot. But remember the consequences. Sex directly leads to babies, STDs, and happiness. That's just how it works. If you're masturbating in your bedroom watching discount porn every night, you will not have a baby and you will not get an STD, but you also not have everything your hormones want. If you're having unprotected sex with a girl who thinks you're her world, you have a chance to make a baby. And if she's had sex before with someone else or you've had sex before with someone else, diseases can be transmitted. But you'll get all the happiness associated with sex. It's not a guarantee, it's not a promise, it's just a possibility. If you've never heard of Russian roulette, you should Google that. It basically involves a 6-shot revolver spun rapidly, then placed to your head, and then you pull the trigger. In any situation, does that sound like a great idea? Now, apply that concept to climbing in bed with someone, you only love to see naked, and then spraying baby making liquids all in her, and, with a 1 out of 6 chance that 9 months later a baby will be coming out of there that you're going to have to pay for the next 16 or 18 years. Doesn't it sound similar? Anyway, I'll get off the soapbox now, but I want to stress the idea that having sex at a young age shouldn't be encouraged or experimented with in any sort of negligible way. Sex was meant to be with a lover, a partner, a spouse, someone you share common goals and interests and stuff with. If you don't want to be with someone forever, a really bad way of achieving that would be to have a baby with them. So that's all the time I have here for today. That's the whole rant. Let me know in the comments what you thought about it. I guess until next time.